But I understand it's a humiliating task, definitely it's a very great, difficult task, it's not an easy thing. But the thing is that we can achieve anything we want in life, provided we stick to it. Okay. This is the secret. So somebody may ask, Swamiji, what you have told is really, it's extremely difficult in life. This is not so easily done. Yes, it's true. It's not easily done. But do we have an alternative? Do we have an option? If you have an option, you can say, we can think about it. Do we have an option for success in life? Success in the sense we have discussed it before. Do we have an option, an alternative? You have to sweat by your throat. There is no shortcut to this. So you friends, you see, just to recapitulate the main points, what we have discussed here. We are all born seekers of success. We all want to succeed in life. The secret of success is to have a strong will. A strong will. Success, yes, you want to have money, you want to have every good things of life, it's all fine. But that you need a strong will. And to face the tragedies of life, also you need a strong will. Actually, there is a story, a very interesting incident which I want to narrate after my main talk is over. Please remind me if I am forgetting that. Very interesting incident. Before I close my talk, I'll just tell you that. So we need a strong will to have both the things. If you want to have the good things of life, you have to really sweat by the broad, and you have to overcome these two weaknesses, these small failures of everyday life. And if you overlook that, these small failures are going to spread, and they are going to eventually cause the downfall of the building of your life. So overcoming these two weaknesses are extremely important as far as the development of will is concerned. So you see, you want to attain good things of life, you need a strong will, and even to face the tragedies of life, you need a strong will. And how do we develop this will? And what is this will? Will is that which impels, which propels, which pushes us ahead to do things which we are supposed to do, and which also stops us from doing things which we are not supposed to do. Both the things. If this faculty is weak, we would be doing just the opposite. We would be doing things which we are not supposed to do, and we won't be doing things which we ought to do. And this is the tyranny of the wrong way of mind, which causes eventually the failure of human life. See, friends? Now the question is, this is what is will. Is in another way, what comes to my mind is, it is a capacity of the mind to attach itself at mere will on any object. And it is also the capacity of the mind to detach itself from a certain object at mere will. It's a wonderful exercise. Presently, what is our condition? It is just the opposite. Our mind doesn't get attached to things where it should be attached, and our mind easily gets attached to things where it should not be attached. Is it not? Can we deny this fact? And this is what causes failures in life. So you see, friends, now, when we understand will in this way, as a faculty which allows you to do things which you should be doing, and also a faculty which stops you from doing certain things which you should not be doing, how are we going to develop? We have discussed 11 points. Number one, have infinite faith in the infinite reserve of strength inside you. Number two, know that the source of this strength is your own divine nature. When you assert your divine nature, through that assertion, you can overcome these two weaknesses. Point number three, when we talk about self-development, we should remember that we cannot afford to be cowards. We have to be bold and courageous because we have to face stiff oppositions. How are we going to face stiff opposition? You have to be courageous. You have to be ready to walk alone. You know that incident which I referred to before, 1906, Mahatma Gandhi's resolution in Johannesburg to fight against the existing social and political injustices of the time. And what was the instrument that he chose? Satyagraha. Passive resistance. Non-violent resistance. In the entire history of human race, we never had a person using this instrument in such a wide scale, and he was not bothered whether anybody is going to stand with him or not. Initially, many of them opposed him, but he stuck to his guns. So when we talk about this kind of a self-development, we should remember that we have to face stiff oppositions, and we have to have a very daring temper. Number four, avoid brooding over the past and worrying about the future. That means our main motto of our life should be right living right now in the present moment. Number 5, when we talk about right living, there has to be some philosophy that should guide us on that path, and that philosophy should be the philosophy of our own inherent divine nature. Point number 6, develop at least one conviction, either based upon, say, a personality or based upon a principle. Or you can combine both of them and overcome these two issues. Point number 7, avoid all opposing friends. Be careful about the opposing friends that we see in society. That means point number 8, the practice of self-restraint and self-control, which should be the gist of our life. Point number 9, seeking noble company, avoiding evil company. Point number 10, plan a simple program for your day-to-day life, which would take care of all these basic needs of your personality, physical personality, your mental, emotional, and spiritual personality. Point number 11, practice of concentration and brahmacharya. Friends, now, before I wind up my talk, initially I had kept before you all the picture of how a weak will expresses itself in our day-to-day life. Now let us just end this talk with a positive note. Now what will be the expression of a strong will? How will the strong will express itself in our day-to-day life? That's going to be very interesting. Now what will be the expression of a strong will? A person with very strong character. You know that you are supposed to be polite in your speech, and you will never be harsh in your speech, and you will never use foul language even when you are provoked and tempted. Why? Because you have a strong will. You know you are supposed to lead a moral life, and you would never indulge in immoral actions, even when provoked and tempted. Why? Because you have a strong will. You know you are supposed to show respect to your elders and teachers, and you would never show disrespect to them. Why? You have a strong will. You know that cigarette smoking and alcohol is injurious to health, and in spite of that, and then you would never indulge in these things, even when you are provoked and tempted. Even when you are provoked and tempted by your friends. Why? You have a strong will. You know drugs kill, and you would never become a drug addict, even when you are tempted and provoked. Why? You have a strong will. You know you are not supposed to give bribe, you are not supposed to take bribe because it is corruption, and you would never succumb to such temptations in life, even when you are provoked and tempted. Why? You have a strong will. You see the expression of the strong will? Just the opposite of what we had discussed in the beginning. Is it not something wonderful? Now somebody had spoken about nation building. How is this nation going to be built? Merely by the construction of express highways, nuclear reactors, sending our astronauts to the space expeditions, spending billions and billions of dollars for that. All these things are going to go into water unless we have citizens with a strong will and strong character. A nation is big, a nation is made great by its men who are great in its character. Unfortunately, actually, very unfortunately and painful to stand here today, September 11, 2014, and to state that today India ranks amongst the most corrupt nations of this world. You know all this. Perhaps only Pakistan or Bangladesh is slightly more corrupt than us. Is it not? We are talking about making our country great. How is this country going to become great? In the lines of Vivekananda's thought, this country is going to become great by the greatness of its citizens, greatness of its youth, greatness of each one of us. And this greatness depends upon its character, and character is built by a strong will. So you see the importance of this subject? Friends, you know, we have some glaring problems in our country. Our country by 2030 is going to be the most populous country in the world. 1/3 of the most poorest people are living in this country, India. 1/3. 25, 30 years back, there was only 1/5 of the most poorest people living in India. 1/5 of the world's poorest people was living in India 30 years back, and today it is 1/3. That means poverty in India is on the rise. It is a very strange phenomenon. Everywhere it is on the decline, but in the African continent and in this Asian continent, surprisingly, the poverty is on the rise. It's not going down. By 2030, we are going to be the most populous country in the world, with the largest number of people living beneath the poverty line situation. How are we going to solve this problem of poverty? Every 3 minutes, one child in India dies out of malnutrition. We have the highest rates in infant mortality and in maternal mortality. How are we going to address these problems? Merely money doesn't solve this problem. Because whatever money goes into the amelioration of this situation, it actually gets siphoned off. Why? Because of the lack of presence of men and women of character. The whole of this money drains into the wrong, it gets siphoned off into the wrong pockets. Do you think this poverty of our country is ever going to come down as long as we don't have men and women of towering character? It's not going to happen. So when Vivekananda talked about nation building, he knew very well that this nation building can be possible. It can be made possible only when we have young boys and girls with good character. And this character is developed by a strong will. And what do we mean by will? You won't be doing things which you are not supposed to do, and you will be doing things which you are supposed to do. Whether the society stands with you or not, whether your friends stand with you or not, there has to be some principle that should guide your day-to-day actions and activities. Friends, before I wind up my talk, I just want to, what's the time? What's the time? 9? 7. Fine. I'll just tell one incident. It's a very interesting incident.